Today I'd like to take the opportunity. I did have a press conference on the start of the work that has been outsourced to Embrace to unlock the potential of our youth and future leaders. I would like to reiterate that this is a well-needed survey so that we can have a good insight as to what our needs are as a country in developing our labor market and preparing our students to be able to fill those positions first and foremost. So all who are approached to assist in giving the feedback necessary, I implore you to cooperate with us so that we can get a good idea of what is needed. All who feel that they have information to share and have not been approached, they can find Ms. Jackie Lewis at jacquelinelewis@msn.com or at 721-581-7973. It is very important that all who have a contribution to make to this endeavor do so. Also, to update on the study financing requests that have come in so far, the deadline has elapsed, and we have received 203 requests for students to further their education with assistance from government. The applications are 140 for the region and 63 for Europe. I can go into the different areas of study, the most popular being business, psychology, social work, nursing, education, medicine, law, and ICT. Those were the ones that had the most, that were applied for the most. And those two things were connected. And of course, the study that is being done now will also be cross-referencing the actual students who are studying and those who are where they are in terms of finalizing their studies. On another note, I have been repeatedly asked for an update on the ministry's stance on the institution known as NIPA, which is run by the board AVE. As a matter of course, many may have seen in the newspapers or heard on the streets that a lien was also placed on the school for failure to pay court-ordered fees to one of the employees, as well as that they had lost yet another case. These continue to be very alarming developments at the institution, and as minister in my role, to be able to make sure that the quality of education is assured for NIPA and that the rights and responsibilities of the management and staff are clearly defined, as well as that the institution lives up to its responsibility as per agreements made in providing SBO education according to the subsidy, which has been granted. I have taken the following steps. We have requested the financial statements on several occasions. On November 10th, before stepping in here, the former minister asked them to provide financial statements. This was not done. November 24th, an extension was requested. On December 4th, such was granted until December 18th. And the board was also invited to a meeting to discuss the state of affairs. On December 10th, I was informed as minister by the executive director of the NIPA that the board is requesting a postponement of the meeting, which was scheduled for December 17th, so said meeting did not take place. As a consequence of this non-compliance, the SOAB, Stichting Overheids Accountants Bureau, will be ordered to conduct a full audit of the financial administration of Board AVE. The SOAB is the internal accountant of the government of St. Martin, en as stipulated in Artikel 2 of de Landsverordening tot wijziging, aanwijzing van de Stichting Overheids Accountantsbureau als interne accountant, the board will be informed about this decision via the Department of Education, about the process and procedures related to this audit. NIPA has 2 weeks as of the date of a letter dated January 27th, which was sent to them, to provide their audited financial yearly reports as stipulated in the Subsidy Ordinance, Article 16. If the reports are not received on the due dates, the advance payments to NIPA will be stopped immediately by the Finance Department until further notice. This is, of course, with the approval of the Council of Ministers, which has been submitted to the Council of Ministers as a matter of procedure as well.
Life is a journey full of connections. You're in safe hands even when life starts too soon. You don't have to miss a single beat. When a bad hair day makes you sad, just sharing can bring you joy and more to come. They take the plunge, turn fear into faith, while you capture those beautiful moments. In the game of life, it's family that counts. They'll be there even when you lose. We all have our moments of reflection and hope. And when you feel you're losing everything in life, we're there because there's more to come. When life starts too soon, you don't have to miss a single beat. We're here to connect you and share life. Telcel, when you want.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000, give us real easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true. That's not all. They're quick and friendly too. Island Finance. Appliances, vacations, even fix your car. You can depend on Island Finance. Here we go.
This is freedom, this is life. Happiness is all I'm seeking. Carpe diem, I'm seizing every day, not just the weekend. Here's to all the good times that have come to last. Here's to living in the now.
When you can afford what you crave, life just gets so
So
good.
alive and I'm feeling good, so good, so good, so good. Hey, I'm gonna live my life, feeling good, so good, real good, so
KFC, so good for everyone.
Hey, Bob, you're on family vacation. Oh, but your daughter's got the measles. But don't worry about it. With your Be Sure travel insurance, children under 12 are covered for free.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah, for free. Oh my, what an inventory list, and so unnecessary. But wait, your home contents are all insured by Be Sure. That means that you determine the amount you want to insure. No inventory list, no hassle.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
I'm feeling funny, man. I feel like I'm getting a pain in my chest.
I got this.
You sure?
Yes. It's 30 breaths and 2 compression. Give her air.
Oh, Monique, look here.
No, Fernand. It is not 30 breaths and 2 compressions. It is 30 compressions and 2 breaths. CPR can be done in 3 simple steps. Step 1. Check and call. Step 2, press down or pump. Step 3, blow.
I got it now. It's 30 compression and 2 breaths.
Yes.
Right. CAB.
I also, yesterday afternoon, had a brief visit with the Council of Advice. Not Council of Advice, the Audit Chamber. Basically went upstairs, and it was a brief discussion, and needless to say that the team headed by Joan de Valemate in terms of those in charge of the daily operations, were commended again for the extremely good work that they have done. One of the things that we should be proud of, both of our Council of Advice and our Audit Chamber, they were non-existent before 2010. But particularly the Audit Chamber, we have had zero experience basically on St. Martin. None of the persons who today form part of the daily operations of the Audit Chamber or who were appointed in the supervisory board of the Audit Chamber, none of them had had any experience in the former Netherlands Antilles. And as I told them yesterday, probably it worked well for St. Martin in the sense that we had no bad habits to bring along with us. St. Martin, as the new government, the new structure, country St. Martin, take it for wherever it is, we have inherited, whichever government would have been there from October 10, 2010, you have inherited the good, but also the bad and the ugly of the governments of Island Territory St. Martin. You've inherited the debt, you've inherited certain departments that didn't function well, you've inherited civil servants, those that were good, but also those that didn't function well. So you had the baggage of Island Territory St. Martin to take along with you, but the Audit Chamber, for one, was able to put together something from ground zero, structure it the way they would have wanted to, the way the vision was for it to be done. They were lucky to have a hard-working, very focused, dynamic person like Joan Dovalle-Mate to head the daily operations, and I tip my hat to them.
I can't sit here and don't have a question because I wonder why I'm hearing from everybody here and why are we looking towards government for solutions? Guys, politicians, why do you think that we shouldn't have an election if we don't have to look at government? Government is the one responsible. To start with, daycares would not be expensive if government realized that a child is born and that child has the rights to education. Subsidize the daycares and don't step out and do as if the formal education starts at age 4. Government responsibility to take care of their people. And the people, of course, would take care of their children. I am hearing everybody going back. My mother was a single woman with 9 children, and we never went to sleep. One night hungry. It's not even though the flour didn't reach up there. From St. Kitts, we had solutions. The question is, when are we going to continue with politicians that don't know their role? How should we continue with them?
That I have basically made statement over and over that the members of our parliament apparently doesn't know their role. That is my position also, because there are too many things that can happen within parliament. You have members in parliament who says that, but I'm not in government. I'm not in government, but you are in government. Because once you're a member of parliament, you are in government. And based on that, there are decisions, there are proposals. We have members sitting in parliament today, collecting a salary, but has never brought a proposal to the floor of parliament. Never, ever. Then you ask yourself, why is it that we have those same people? Then we have newcomers that are saying, if I get in, I am going to make a difference. But if the leadership remains the same, there will be no difference. We will continue to be in the situation that we're in today. 5 years, 5 years, 5 different governments, 5 years, and we are basically going backwards.
I took it upon myself to get organized because I felt the same way as you do, ma'am. And I think that it is time for our representatives to do their jobs. I think it is time to elevate the performance and know what you have been elected to do. Show respect to the people that have put you there and coordinate with the 15 other parliamentarians to be professional. And of course, the 44th article is to represent the entire population in St. Martin, which means that you have to go to work, sign in, whether this one signs in or not, you have to do your job. Because if you were to try something like that in a private sector, you would be fired. So, my response to your question is, I will do everything in my power to represent and be the voice of the people of St. Martin, go to work and do my job.
That indeed government has a responsibility, and government must be aware, and the responsibility of government that's laid down in the laws of the land. But government cannot handle the society alone. We need to work together. The NGOs are there for a purpose, and together I believe that we can make this society a better society. If it only depends on government, we're not going to get there. But government, together with the NGOs, together with the people, the communities, we can make this island the island that we all want it to be. An ideal island where all of us are living together in peace and the quality of life has been improved.
Partner that sits as a union president for the question fielded, because indeed, when we have social partners that represent the interests of persons, when they are in discussions with government, one would consider concerns such as cost of living for teachers to be enjoyed, to be a reality. That when we look at government representatives taking the oath of office, the personal choice would be that we find persons who are educated, who hold a high moral standard for integrity and transparency, and that we don't repeat the same shortcomings time and time again. So I do agree, there should be some shifts and some changes with those that enjoy being a member of parliament today. But when we look upward, we would realize that though we want to not enjoy the increase in salary, I have yet heard from the panelists that's so adamant about decreasing it, say what he would do with the difference and what difference he would give back to the community from the salary should he enjoy what they enjoy today. So until then, I would do hope that after this discussion tonight, my fellow panelists would clarify that.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
In my opinion, everything is perfect and you would be great for the job. But I see here that there's a 2-year gap in your resume. What did you do?
I was hospitalized for mental illness.
Oh, mental illness?
I've undergone treatment and I have a wonderful family that supports me.
Well, that is good news.
No, it's fine. I'm recovered.
We'll contact you, okay?
For a better understanding of mental health and what you can do to stop mental health stigma, please go to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
The dispute regulation, Minister Plasterk sent a proposal to all the governments and also to my person to take a look at. He alluded to that yesterday. Yes, indeed, that is the case, but I can tell you that we cannot agree with it because what it basically boils down to, there is a dispute within the kingdom between kingdom partners, and if it involves the Dutch government or the kingdom government, they have the last word. So if there is a dispute between St. Martin and the Dutch government or the kingdom government, and if, based on his proposal, we accept to agree that the Council of State would be the one in charge of rendering the advice for the Dutch government, it remains unadvised. It is not a binding advice, even though the minister says, well, we would need to have motivated reasons to deviate. We have seen in the past that if they do not agree, they will always find motivated reasons to deviate. So we do not see it, I for sure do not see it as a solution. All I see it is basically taking you for a nice ride around the park, but at the end of the day, we are in charge and what we say go. So if there is an advice from the Council of State that meets with their approval, then the Council of State did excellent work. If it does not meet with their approval, and we've had in recent history, we've had cases like that when they have indicated in no uncertain terms the instructions given to the governors were not actually right and proper. And what do? They find a motivated reason to say, yes, but we don't agree with you. So it doesn't make sense to waste time on a dispute regulation, whether you put it by the courts, whether you put it by the European Court of Justice, whether you put it by the Council of State, whether you create a new advisory body, as long as the Dutch government does not agree that that dispute regulation, that dispute chamber can render an opinion that is binding on the two parties. It makes no sense to have a dispute between two parties and only one has to abide by the advice or by the decision of that body that renders the advice.
Since taking office, do you know if the department is now up to par, and let's say there is a breaking, is there any way that we can retrieve those information? And further to that question, do we have or does the Department of Labor have a registration for the unemployed? Because there are people who are collecting what you call unemployment money, but are they registered on the unemployment list so that they can probably get a job at some point?
I believe that one of the requirements for receiving understand is that they need to be registered as unemployed. So I believe that that number should be an accurate number. In terms of documents being stolen from the department, I'm not aware of that. I am aware that one of the first things that I found out when I came in as minister that was a bit surprising was that they did have a computer system failure, I think in July of 2014, where they basically lost that data in a computerized format. I understand they still have the paper backup, but that data loss, I think, was, in my mind, that's very sad, because having all of that information on computer obviously gives you the possibility to query your database and to look, in terms of when you're developing policy, look for facts and figures to back that up. So I understand that they can get high-level data, but in terms of generating specific queries into that, apparently that ability has been lost for data before July of 2014. So the department has been clearly instructed to make sure that proper power backup, proper data backup on all of those things are in place going forward. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that we're working on in the cabinet is even improving the, let's say, the quality of the data that's currently being entered into the system, so that we can even query further into the database. In other words, more from a policy perspective, I believe that there's some fields that still need to be added to that database. And so that's something that the ministry is working on, is, how do we improve not only the data that's entered, but also the depth of the data that's there and the types of queries that we'll be able to answer. In terms of your repeated questions about the Sinesta, if complaints have been filed at Labor Affairs, they're being dealt with. So I'm not getting involved in terms of specific cases, other than making sure that the department is being proactive. I do know that they have some staffing issues, as everybody knows, with budget constraints. Most of the departments in their formation plans were still missing some staff members. But that's something that's not going to be resolved on the short term. But I do believe that they have sufficient staff to perform properly, perhaps not as fast as everyone would like, but I think within the legal timeframes that they're supposed to be operating.